I'm here with my colleague Lisa Lundy, who is going to be facilitating this session with myself. Our role here at the college is we help students with career planning and job search needs. So I'm just going to flip it over to Lisa just to say hi.
Hello, everyone. As Pat said, we're colleagues. I'm a career consultant at Georgian, and we have presented this workshop a number of times. It's been very well received. So listen closely and participate, and you're going to get some great tips. And someone is asking, is this session going to be recorded?
I am recording it.
Okay. So yes, it will be recorded.
Okay. All right. So thank you. All right, so in today's session, here are some of the topics that we're going to cover. We're going to give you our top 10 job search strategies, and these are strategies that you can use during COVID and then beyond. Hopefully this pandemic will get out of the system soon. We're going to talk a little bit about the hidden job market, talk about the importance of networking, and you're going to get a practical tips on how to create an elevator speech, how to use social media to network, and we're going to talk to you at the end. We have a little video clip on career success services that you can access. So if you're just joining and you haven't had a chance to read in the chat for today's session, you will need a piece of paper, a pen and pencil, and a cell phone or a tablet so that you can participate in Poll Everywhere, which is an interactive polling software that we have throughout the presentation. So let's get started. We have an unrelated Poll Everywhere question for the group, just to get everybody set up and get you used to using the software. So at the top of the screen, you will see the address pollev.com. So if you can go ahead and join that. And then we'd like you to vote on your favorite season. And then we'll see people's answers come up on the screen. So is your favorite season summer, winter, fall, or spring? So if you could go ahead and cast your vote, that would be great. Again, yep, there we go. We have quite a mixture. Wow, spring, which we're in right now, is not the most favorite. I like summer too. I think Lisa would agree.
I like summer, but I like late spring.
Mm-hmm.
And you can start digging in the garden.
Don't let us influence your answer, though. Okay, so if you had trouble with that, one of our participants kills everything in the garden, so I'm the same.
It's trial and error. Yeah, you learn okay, well, that didn't work. I won't do that again.
Okay, well, thank you. I'm just going to lock the poll now, and we'll go on to the next slide, okay? Okay, so here's the next poll. We're curious what you think is the preferred way that employers fill a job, okay? So if you can cast your vote, how do you think most employers, how do they fill a job? Very interesting results.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of you feel that employers advertise jobs on job boards. Okay, so I'm just going to close that poll. When I was trying, oh, Lisa, did
Yes,
you see that
right.
chat? Okay.
Yeah, I can see that. Right. I mean, and employers certainly use a variety. Um, I'm sure they don't just have one go-to. And as you'll see in the next slide, Pat will talk a little bit more about the reality of what employers do.
Okay, so we have one more poll. So now we're interested. Sorry, that's my dog howling. So in the next slide, we want you to tell us what you think is the preferred method for job seekers when they look for jobs. So go ahead and vote. Oh, sorry, it was locked. Go ahead and vote. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and lock that poll. So it looks like most of you think that job applicants look for jobs on job boards. Okay.
I just wanted to mention if some people aren't able um, to get onto the poll, you can enter your answer in the chat.
Thanks, Lisa. Okay. So I want you to look at this next slide. Okay. So if we look at this diagram, you'll see that most employers look for candidates in the exact opposite ways that job seekers look for work. So employers tend to promote internally. They ask for referrals from staff and through their own network, while people tend to look for jobs in the opposite direction. And we can probably all relate that to that. We look on online to job posting boards and we start applying to jobs. So you'll see that employers start looking for internal candidates or referrals, and most job seekers start sending their resume to job postings. Okay, so we're not suggesting that all employers follow this process or all job hunters get online and start applying for jobs, but it's good to understand the huge disconnect between job hunters and the successful job search strategies. So why is this important to you? The diagram actually illustrates the perception that applying online is the best way to get a job. So does that sound familiar to you? So if in the chat, does that sound familiar to you? Is that how you um, tend to look for work? You look online on job boards?
You can just enter your answer in the chat. Yes, so typically that does seem to be the common theme.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to tell you my personal story. So while I was preparing for this workshop for the very first time that we delivered it, I thought about this diagram and how it explains my career journey after leaving high school. So when I was in high school, I did a co-op at Kellogg's, which was a small manufacturing company out of Alliston. We peeled apples for Mrs. Smith pies. I don't know if you've heard of Mrs. Smith pies before. We actually mixed drugs for neocitrin. Some of you may have used that for colds. We made French fries, just to name a few things. So funny enough, when I was in high school, I actually registered at Georgian for the culinary program. But then I decided I really couldn't afford to go to school. So I was looking for a job. So at a social event, I ran into my former co-op boss, so my former high school co-op boss, And I asked her if there were any job opportunities. And she said there was someone. Um, there was, because somebody that I worked with during my co-op was going on maternity leave. She asked me to come into the office on Monday, and I was hired. I was actually at the right place at the right time, and they knew how I worked. It didn't cost them anything. They didn't have to go through the whole application process. And back in that day, they actually posted jobs in the newspaper. Can you imagine that? Fast forward, after about a year and a half, that plant closed, and I relocated to the head office in Toronto. And I did um, a short job there, and then moved to our sales division. So one day out of the blue, my former co-op and Kellogg boss, she called me and said she wanted me to be her assistant. She actually relocated to our manufacturing plant in Rexdale, and she referred me to her hiring manager, who interviewed me, and I got the job. Again, I was referred by word of mouth, or you could call it sort of an internal promotion. After another 8 years, this plant closed. Sorry, it kind of followed me around a little bit. So I was asked to manage the career center to help displaced workers because, of course, the plant was closing and somebody had to help people um, get into different jobs. And it was really a family affair. There was all kinds of families working there, and I'm talking moms, dads, children. Um, anyway, so I worked closely with an external placement consultant, and at the end of my employment, I was referred to help this placement firm. It was called KPMG, with outplacement of employees. So Bell and IBM, they were going through some um, reshuffling of staff, and a lot of people were losing their job. Again, I got that job through word of mouth and networking. Really made that opportunity for me possible. So fast forward, I went back to school and was one of the first graduates of a career counseling program. And guess what? I did a placement at Georgian College in co-op and counseling, and that experience resulted in 3 years of contract work before I was hired on full-time as a career consultant. So I hope you can see that how the first 3 levels got me to where I am. I did not have to send out resumes. I rather networked, and my contacts served me well. So I hope that story sort of puts things into perspective in terms of how networking can really help you get into other jobs.
I have another quick story to add to that. So it's a little different, but it's still, somebody didn't rely on a job that was posted. So someone that I know who was a truck driver was out of work, but he was kind of thinking about maybe he was going to become self-employed. So he went to a truck dealership, like a big tractor trailer delivery truck kind of dealership. And he's just kind of looking around, not really sure what he's going to do. And he overhears another customer talking to a salesperson saying, "We've just landed a big contract with our company, and we're buying several more new trucks." So he thought, they're going to need drivers for those trucks. So he took a chance. And when the customer was finished talking to the salesperson, he went up, introduced himself, and said, "I'm a truck driver with a lot of experience. The company I was working for closed. I overheard that you're ordering a fleet of trucks. I'm thinking you might need a really good truck driver." And he was hired. So he took a chance. Was that, again, it's a matter of being at the right place at the right time. But the point is, if you hear of an opportunity, follow up on it. Don't think, they probably wouldn't hire me, or I don't want to bug them. Follow up on it.
And that's a really great example of somebody taking a proactive approach. And that's kind of what we're suggesting that you do, in try to find those hidden jobs, and being attuned to what's going on around you. So that person was really insightful and put 2 and 2 together and thought, hey, I see an opportunity. Let's see if they need somebody. So that's a great example. Thanks, Lisa. All right. Okay. So I want to look at two common ways of looking for work. Okay. We call this the passive versus the active job search approach. Okay. So what is passive job hunting? Well, it's sending out resumes and cover letters and waiting for employers to call you for an interview. We often hear students say, I've sent out hundreds of resumes, but I haven't heard back from anyone. Does that sound familiar to you? I'm sure that many of you on the call today have sent their resume to many, many employers and have not heard back. So it can be very frustrating for job seekers. And we encourage you to consider taking a more active job search approach. So, what does that mean? It means networking, following up, engaging in social media, and frankly, taking control of your own job search. In the past, the passive job search approach worked. In today's competitive market, it's just not enough to take the passive approach and throw in COVID. Chances are even slimmer that this approach will work for you. So this is why we're here today, to teach you some effective job search strategies that will take you from a passive job search approach to a more active job search approach. So I'm going to flip it over to Lisa, who will talk more about the hidden job market.
Okay, so what is the hidden job market? What does it really mean? The job market itself is like an iceberg. You know, it's really, the jobs that are posted are just the tip of the iceberg. They say between 75% and 80% of jobs that are available are not actually posted. So it is very much like an iceberg. What's below the water is always much greater than what's above the water. So what is the advantage of tapping into the hidden job market? It's effective. It takes work. Yes, absolutely. It takes work. But you are going to, sort of mine for jobs that a lot of people don't know about. So that makes it less competitive. So if you are at the right time, at the right place, or you have a network who can refer you to a job and the employer wants to hire, or the employer wants to hire from within, which was Pat's example, you're going to have a lot less competition. If you think of, if everybody is looking at the jobs online, can you imagine the number of resumes that employers are getting? Sometimes when we have hired for our front desk, of course, when we were on campus, but even now because we do it remotely, but we have had 500 or more applicants apply. That's a lot of resumes to go through. So, the tips that we're giving here are going to help you mine those jobs that are not so evident. Okay, so now we're going to get into the strategies. We've got our top 10 strategies. So strategy number 1, expand your options. And what does that mean? It means stay open-minded and be flexible. With this pandemic, a lot of our students have been affected, but particularly the students in the co-op programs of hospitality and tourism. So they're not able to work at resorts. They're not able to work in vacation places or theme parks. So they've thought about, okay, where else is good service needed and where is there demand? So it's been in long-term care facilities in some cases, or certainly restaurants that are still providing takeout service. So although, I might have had my heart set on working in a resort, it's not going to work right now. So I have to shift gears and still develop skills that I'm going to need in my future career. So the job you get now maybe just a stepping stone to the job you're going to get later. But you need to shift. You need to be adaptable, and you need to be flexible. So pay attention to those other transferable skills you have that are not directly related to the direction you want to go in, but you've got some other really good skills. It also means being proactive and perhaps having having more than one version of your resume. Okay. Now, be aware of the changes in your industry. Again, the hospitality and tourism field has been hit hard, but other industries have been hit hard too. Either there's a real demand or things have slowed down. But find out, would I typically be working from home until the pandemic is over? Would I have to actually go into a physical location? So, pay attention to what's going on in the news. You may want to follow a blog, or just, keep aware of what's happening in your particular industry. And what's your future career going to look like? So, for the foreseeable future, we're going to be delivering our services remotely. There is a time that we will be back on campus, but from thereafter, and a lot of businesses will be like this, it may be a blend of on-site and remote. So stay in touch with your career, stay informed about what's happening in your career.
Okay, so now we're on to strategy number 3, and this is use all available supports. And here we're just recommending that you reach out to services and to people. So we've discussed one of the best ways to find a job is by tapping the hidden job market. So people naturally want to help people, okay? And since 80% of the jobs are not advertised, consider calling, emailing, or chatting with every boss that you've ever had. Do you know contacts that you haven't connected with for in a while? Maybe now is the time to reach out to them. And it's okay to ask for help, especially right now during the pandemic. Let people know that you're looking for a job. Give them a copy of your resume and ask them, is there anything that you can do to help me? Again, people naturally like to help people. You will be surprised how many people you know who will gladly refer you to their contacts. Okay. So you also have access to supports here at Georgian College. Folks like Lisa and myself. Take advantage of our resume services, our workshops, our networking events. Okay. Yep. Lisa, did you want to say something?
No, I was just taking a breath.
Okay. I thought
I'm
you
just
wanted
breathing.
to say
Just breathing.
Okay. So then let's look at strategy 4. So we're also recommending that you connect with people digitally, and that means using social media platforms. Okay, so it could be LinkedIn, joining a group, engaging in people. Why can't you send a message to people that let them know that you're looking for work and ask, is there anything that they can do to help? I just have a fun fact here for you. Did you know that since COVID, there has been a 55% increase in conversations among LinkedIn connections? So that just means that more people are commenting, reacting, resharing, and replying. You've never had this much access to networking without leaving your couch, ever. And I've actually personally noticed a huge increase in the amount of conversations and sharing that's happening on LinkedIn. It's a great time to start following companies that you really would love to see yourself working at, connecting with people, reaching out, asking people to join your network. So again, without leaving your couch, you can connect digitally with lots of people using different platforms and tools. Over to Lisa.
Okay, so build a network. Why? To form relationships with those who will help you get to where you want to go. And the earlier you start building your network, the better. So you're getting some great tips today. You can start it tomorrow. We'll give you a day's grace. You can start it tomorrow. And if the phrase networking or build your network, sends you running, you're not alone. The thought of networking makes me panic, but it's necessary. And I think when, if it's not sort of your natural way of, you don't have that natural ability to reach out to people, we think it's a lot more difficult than it is. Yes, it takes work, it takes organization, it takes thought. But as Pat said earlier, people want to help. So you don't have to be as fearful as we kind of build ourselves up to being. So we help a lot of students with mock interviews, and a student had reached out to me to help practice some interviews. And during the feedback session, the name of a graduate had come up, a previous grad in Georgian had come up. And this student was listening very closely, the student I was doing the mock interview with, and she got an idea. And she said, I'm going to look for that person on LinkedIn, and I'm going to connect with them because they're doing exactly the kind of work that I want to do. So, yes, we were having that conversation. She was kind of at the right place at the right time. But again, she capitalized on some information and she transformed that into an opportunity for herself. Okay, so I guess next slide, Pat.
Yep, it's there.
Okay. Oh, sorry. So often it's not what you know, it's who you know. And you may have heard that before. So now, going back to Pat's example, I mean, she knew the business too, but it was who she knew that also helped her move around in the company. And when the company closed, to launch beyond that. So how are you going to get your foot in the door? You've got your great skills and abilities, and hopefully you have a professional resume. If not, there are certainly lots of resources at the college to help you with that. But by networking, you're going to make some connections that you wouldn't otherwise have. They can help you get your foot in the door. Advertising is expensive. If employers can fill a position in other ways, they're going to try and source that out. It's time consuming, it costs money, it costs time to go through a mountain of resumes.
Okay, so now we're to the next poll. So if you can grab your electronic device, and we want you to think about examples of people in your network. So let's see how many examples we can think of as a group. Don't put names of people, but rather use generic categories such as teacher, coach, your people in your network. There we go. If you use 2 words, it's going to show up as 2. So that's why we're just suggesting that you use 1 word. Okay, so you've got lots of great contacts, people in your network. So now Lisa's going to share with you a networking worksheet where you can track um, your network. And there is an example of this posted in our student portal that we're going to share the link at the end. Okay. So I'm just going to lock that for now. See, look at the biggest one there. So a lot of you were commenting that friends, yeah, friends can help you. They want to help you. A lot of past supervisors, employers, yeah, right on cue there. So reach out to those people. Okay, we'll go to the next slide. So Lisa, this is over to you.
Okay. So you can recreate this networking worksheet, whatever works for you. But this is kind of, if you think of when you're trying to brainstorm, okay, who can I contact? So in the previous poll, you've got some ideas. So friends, former bosses, your parents, your relatives, you know. But here's where you're going to start to capture some names, because you want to be organized in your networking and in your subsequent job search. So the 5 F's, if you kind of think of friends, faculty, fellow peers, fellow classmates, family, or foundations and associations. So if you brainstorm with those headings in mind, and just, you may not end up reaching out to these people, but you need to you need to generate some ideas for yourself. So just start jotting down names that you can think of possible people that you could reach out to.
Okay.
Okay.
So now we're going to talk a little bit about LinkedIn. So I recently attended a webinar with the senior manager of customer service at LinkedIn, and it was really interesting to hear some statistics, behind what's happening during COVID. One of the things he said is that if you're not on LinkedIn, you're a step behind. So the question I'm going to ask you to post in the chat or the answer, I want you to post in chat. Have you recently visited your LinkedIn? Is it your LinkedIn profile up to date? So throw yes or no in there, or you're working on it. Awesome. So a lot of people have, okay, perfect. Awesome. Daily. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so when he was doing his presentation, he wasn't necessarily promoting LinkedIn just because he works there, but he was sharing some insights and some statistics on what's happening on the platform since COVID. And I thought I would share those with you today in our session because I thought they were pretty interesting. So right now there's over 705 million members in 200 countries on LinkedIn. That's a lot of contacts. 20 million of them are Canadian members. And right now, there is 14 million open job postings. If you are not aware, there is a job posting feature in LinkedIn where you can look for jobs. And if you have, there's um, a toggle switch that you can actually have recruiters find you. Some of you may have that turned off. So if you are actively looking, you might want to turn that on so that people can find you. The fastest growing group since COVID that are on LinkedIn are hourly workers. Okay, so there's 90 million that have joined since the pandemic. And there's been a 2.5% increase in the number of remote jobs that have been posted on on LinkedIn in the US. I don't have a Canadian statistics for you, sorry. So he also reported that 9 out of 10 employers use it during the hiring process. And then during the pandemic, he also said that Canadians are turning to LinkedIn for trusted content. So if you think about LinkedIn as a very professional version of Facebook, where it's really comprised of a lot of professionals, you'll find that the content is really trusted among the members. 60%, there's been an increase of 60% in content creation. 40% of members report reading the news more often, and I think we're all looking at the news, but these are updates on LinkedIn. 30% are checking social media more often, and that's just to stay up to date as a result of COVID. He also said that people are looking to reconnect with their network and are openly sharing advice and tips. As I mentioned earlier, I've personally noticed a huge increase in activity, and I'm getting a number of students asking to join my LinkedIn. So again, you've never had so much access to networking as you do now. So if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, get started, join groups and engage people and follow companies. Recruiters know those people that are following them, and it just shows that you're you're engaged, you're interested in that organization. So some tips around LinkedIn: update your profile regularly. It sounds like most of you are on that. Include at least 5 skills in your profile. They say that you're 27 times more apt to catch a recruiter's attention if you have at least 5 skills mentioned in your profile. Endorsements. So endorsements are different than referrals. So endorsements would be your contacts on LinkedIn endorsing you for certain skills. So Lisa might endorse me for my career counseling skills or my resume writing skills.
I certainly would.
Thank you, Lisa. And then there's a new feature on LinkedIn, and I don't know if you're aware of this, and I'm going to confess something to the group. I took a quiz. I know PowerPoint and I can muddle through it. I've never taken any formal courses. So I thought one day I'm going to take the quiz and see how I do. Well, I failed. I only got like 40% or something like that. But if you take the quiz and you do if you get a really good score, then you can post it on your profile. So it really is, it's really confirmation that what you say your skills are, that you've proved it by doing the quiz. If you fail that quiz, like me, LinkedIn will recommend courses that you can take. And keep in mind, LinkedIn Learning is available to all of our students. We have a site license that we've purchased, so please take advantage of the LinkedIn Learning. It's an amazing resource to help you hone in on skills that you want to polish, such as Excel. I've taken some Excel training courses on it. There's an excellent one in there on LinkedIn, how to set up your LinkedIn profile, and just some really helpful tips. Okay, and be active. Stick to your area of expertise so you can get involved in conversations. A lot of people out there post positive stuff. Don't be the negative nanny. I see a lot of negative stuff on there. So keep your comments positive. All right. Okay, this is me again. So on LinkedIn, make new connections. Don't be shy about needing a job. Set up your job alerts we mentioned, and that's sort of that toggle. Be open to career transitions. I haven't checked this out because I haven't had a lot of time to do that, but they have a new Career Explorer tool. I don't know if you've checked it out, Lisa.
No,
but
I haven't.
it actually provides insights about career paths. So Lisa mentioned about the limited opportunities in hospitality and tourism.
Right.
It can help you identify the skills that you have and then how you can transfer those skills from one job to another. I think it is a fantastic tool from what I know about it.
Right. And I'll just add to, remember back to our strategy number 1, that's expand your options. That's going to help you expand your options.
Exactly. So just a fun fact, LinkedIn members are 4 times more likely to get hired when referred. So again, be active on social media.
Pat,
Okay,
I just want to mention there's a question in the chat. I'm not actually sure what it means. I couldn't find the Georgian license. Can you provide some information on how to access that? Are you meaning
oh,
for LinkedIn and the
for
training?
for LinkedIn
Yes,
to
yeah. So I had gone into
Okay.
LinkedIn because I wanted to access specifically the Excel training, but I couldn't find out how to get it through Georgian and not have to pay for it myself.
correct. So if you're signed into your account through
Your LinkedIn.
through LinkedIn through the college, um, when you're on your profile, you'll see up in the right-hand corner a little arrow that says LinkedIn Learning. Just click on that.
So I can make a LinkedIn profile with my Georgian college email.
You can, I guess. Maybe what we can do is, can we connect after and I can walk you through it?
That would be awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay, just reach out to me after the session today. Okay. I think you just have to be behind the college, like signed in as a student into our systems before you can access the LinkedIn Learning. As far as I know, that's how it works. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about Talent Egg. I don't know if anybody has been on Talent Egg, but they have a lot of great resources. They tout themselves as Canada's #1 job board, and it's been around for 12 years. If you've ever heard of Charity Village, that's a job posting website for jobs in the not-for-profit sector. So Talent Egg actually owns Charity Village, so they work closely together. The focus of Talent Egg is to really foster those relationships between recruitment and young candidates looking for meaningful job opportunities. They typically serve 18 to 30-year-olds that are career oriented. Perhaps they're university and college students, recent graduates, or early professionals, and it's all across Canada. Every month, there's 290,000 students and recent graduates that engage and interact with employers on their website. Annually, they actually survey students and employers, and the last survey that they did reported that 77% of students lost their jobs as a result of COVID. So the breakdown on that was 43% of those jobs were summer jobs, 18% of those were full-time jobs, 11% were internships, and 5% were co-op jobs. But and I'm sharing information from one of their top executives that was involved in the webinar that I listened to when LinkedIn was there. But what she was saying is the good news is that those who kept or found jobs, many were onboarded to work from home. So the good news is companies are hiring. Again, they might just be doing it differently. Those jobs might look different now, but there's jobs out there. And Talent Egg said in that session that the key is to adapting to virtual hiring tools and career resources. Okay, so some of the things that we've talked about. So one of their new features is the candidate video showcase. Now we do have one more information session, I believe, in April, where Talent Egg is going to be promoting their new feature, which is the video candidate showcase. So what that is you can, we're going to talk about elevator speeches coming up shortly, but it's that introductory speech that you would say to an employer. And once you upload your video or your speech into the Talent Egg database, employers will actually find you. So you go into a database and employers come and find you for jobs. So check it out. If you can make it to the next session, it's posted, the next event is posted on the student portal. But they have an incubator, which is 1,000 free resources. You can get an inside look into employers, and there's virtual events, so networking events that you can attend. with employers that they work with. Okay, over to Lisa.
Okay. And maybe while I'm chatting or while I'm talking, Pat, there's a question in the chat that just came up. You could answer. Okay, so strategy number 6 is get involved. You know, some really good opportunities for you to learn about your industry, to expand on your current skill set, is to do some volunteer work or to network, you know, networking with people in your industry. How do you find them? Look for a professional association that's connected to your career. And sometimes they do have a fee to join, but a number of them do have a student, sort of a student sector. So it's a great way to be in touch, to, you know, hear what's happening in your industry. Maybe you can take a role as, you know, a secretary or treasurer, or, you know, sort of an executive role in a professional association, or volunteer in your field. I mean, right now volunteering is very difficult because there's so much not in-person contact, but investigate professional associations. You can use your local library. You can find connections on LinkedIn for professional associations, using Canada 411 if you haven't used that before, and we will include it in a tip sheet that we'll provide at the end. Canada411.ca is a great resource. It's like an online telephone directory, but you don't have to know the company name. You can search by type of sector, and it will come up with different company names or professional associations. So it's a great tool also. But when things do open up, you know, consider looking at volunteer opportunities. Even on campus, we have volunteer opportunities. It also helps you build your references. So if you don't have a lot of work experience, or you don't have work experience in Canada, volunteering, you're likely going to have some kind of supervisor, so you could use them as a reference. So that's tip number 6. Okay. So learn something new. Okay, that's strategy number 7. Yes, you're in school, so of course you're learning something new. So that's great. But as Pat mentioned, through LinkedIn, you can take different little micro sessions to expand your skills. And the skills are, there's a variety of different kinds of mini courses that they have. You know, I have a feeling that employers are going to be asking in interviews, okay, so while you were quarantining, or, you know, while we were in lockdown, what were you doing to enhance your skills aside from your education? You know, what did you do to build on your skill set? How did you make the best use of your time? So, you know, well, I took some, you know, I am in full-time school. I also took some micro sessions to enhance my my skills. I developed a really strong LinkedIn profile. So it's important. Learn something new.
And I have circled the icon that will show at the top of your profile. So when you click on that, that will open up the LinkedIn Learning.
Yep. So, you know, it's about investing in yourself. Using your time wisely will impress an employer, but ultimately that's investing in yourself. You know, so again, you know, questions that could be asked: what did you do in lockdown? what did you do to put yourself in a better position? So in addition to LinkedIn Learning, and some of the topics in LinkedIn Learning cover social media marketing, email marketing, e-commerce, business, finance, public speaking, web design, Microsoft Office, using PowerPoint. You know, blog posts and podcasts are a great way to start exploring a particular topic. You know, there may be you know, a blog connected to your career field. You can follow that, get some insights into what's going on. Also, the learning portal. While you're a student, it's through the colleges, the Ontario Colleges library system. There's a learning portal, and there's free little micro sessions there also. So explore these things to invest in yourself and to let an employer know that I made good use of my time when we were in lockdown.
Okay, so let's say that you're looking for work and you're at a networking event and you're introduced to somebody that you don't know by a friend of yours. That person asks you, what do you do? What would you say? So what would you say? How would you say it? We call this your elevator speech. So we're going to watch a video that explains how to create your own personal brand or your own personal elevator speech. So after the video, you'll have an opportunity to spend a few minutes to write out your own speech in response to the 4 questions that they cover in the video that we're going to watch. And then what we're going to do is send you to a breakout room where you are going to practice your elevator speech with another person, okay? And it's probably somebody that you've never met before. So it's a safe place. I hope that you'll participate. You know, we'll ask if somebody might want to share at the end, but it's not mandatory. So let's watch the video and we'll see if it plays okay. Maybe it won't.
And if you're thinking, well, I'm not going to be in an elevator anytime soon, that's not the only place that you're going to use it. If you're at a networking event, or, you know, like the truck driver who just happened to overhear somebody ordering a big fleet of trucks, you know, he went up, he introduced himself. He said, this is what my experience is, this is what I could do for you. That's, you know, you need to get comfortable talking about yourself. And it's only about a minute long. It's also very valuable for when you're in an interview session and the employer says, well, tell me about yourself.
For some reason, I cannot get the annotate off. So I don't know if I can show the video.
Oh.
Yeah. Let's see.
Okay, while you're doing that, there's a question in the chat. Where do we access the free courses in Georgian account? So are you meaning through LinkedIn? And if you are, there is that little icon with the forward arrow, and it says learning. I believe it's in the top right-hand corner in LinkedIn. If you are, if you're interested in learning through the Ontario colleges, although I don't know exactly what it looks like, but if you go to the library portal for Georgian, I'm sure you can access it there.
Okay, I think we're in business. Let's see if this works. There we go.
Elevator pitch is a powerful way to introduce yourself today. You never know who's going to get an opportunity to help you in your career and network your career. Its origin really started in an elevator in New York City. People used to figure out, what do I need to say when I meet somebody in an elevator and I have 20 or 30 seconds in which to tell them a little bit about myself?
I think most people probably wouldn't say anything because they wouldn't know exactly what to say, and they wouldn't want to embarrass themselves.
I would say that I know your company is a very big company, a very famous company, and I am really interested.
It's not a speech, it's a conversation amongst two people, but it's enabling you to tell them who you are, what you stand for, where you want to go in life, and what you can bring to an organization.
I'm finishing up an engineering degree, and I'm very interested. I very much like your company and your job, and I'm very interested in working there. I can get to you my information when I need to, but I'd appreciate it if you could consider me for your position.
I think I would say my name, also let them know that I was very interested in the company and let them know what it is about the company that I was interested in, their community service, their networking event, the people that I've discussed, and then a little bit about my background and what would make me great for that particular position.
She did perfect. She's very poised, very enthusiastic. That's what people want to see. In an elevator pitch, what you want to do is introduce yourself clearly, shake hands, make eye contact, have good body language, because everybody, when they're looking to meet somebody, really wants to meet somebody who's personable and interesting.
Well, hello. My name is Harmony Upchurch. I'm currently enrolled in Westchester University, Pennsylvania. I will be studying biology and soon go to veterinary school to become a veterinarian.
So that was good. So you gave a very beautiful first opening speech about where you're going. And this is common for young people. They're just not used to talking about where they're going and what their career is going to involve and what their value may be to an organization, because you're just starting out in life. But keeping in mind that that person could help you down the line, you still want to tell them now a little bit about yourself. We know where you're going, so you may add in any organizations that you're involved in or passions that you have in addition to your veterinarian career. In your elevator speech, it's not all about saying words like I'm passionate about something. It's about demonstrating that. So if you are involved in a philanthropic organization, or if you do raise money and you do volunteer, mention that, because that speaks to the passion that you have and what you care about in your life, rather than you saying, I'm great with people, I like people. The best way for a young person to get comfortable with the elevator speech is to first write a couple of them out and then practice and see how it sounds. You should learn to stand in front of a mirror and introduce yourself, give your elevator speech, see how you present yourself physically, look at your body language, and you'll learn a lot about yourself just by watching.
After the second time I did it, I felt very comfortable with it, and I felt like, okay, I got this. I know what I'm doing now.
So a liberal arts major who may meet me as a business owner may introduce himself. Hi, I'm John Smith, and I'm a liberal arts major here at Temple University, and I have ambitions to be a writer. And right now I'm taking several writing classes, creative and journalism, in order to hone my writing skills, because I know it's important in the business world. One of the other passions that I have is I'm also involved in utilizing my writing to help organizations. I volunteer for muscular dystrophy. I volunteer for animal protection rights. So I'm involved in quite a few organizations that I can help with the skills I'm learning in college. At the end of the day, I want to have a career that's very fulfilling to me. I want to work with people I love and trust, and for causes that I'm really passionate about.
It's great to meet you.
Yeah, well, I'll call you.
Thank you.
Get together next week.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So you think you're ready for your elevator pitch? Let's see, give it a try. Today, I want to have a career that's very fulfilling to me.
Okay. So now it's your turn. I want you to take 5 minutes just to jot down some notes in your response to these 4 questions that they presented in the video. So if you can just grab a piece of paper, just make some rough notes, and then we're going to give you 5 minutes to do that. And then we're going to send you to a breakout room after 5 minutes. And then depending on the number of participants, you may have a third person join you. It depends on how many people we have on the line, and if it evenly divides by 2. If not, you might have another person. So when you get to the room, you will have a total of 10 minutes. You will decide who's going to say their speech first, and then you're going to switch. So you'll have about 5 minutes And then just make sure that you give each other some constructive feedback on their elevator speech. And then you're going to return to the main room automatically, but the system will prompt you and give you a 1-minute warning. Okay.
Okay.
So
Pat, I just want to say something, Pat.
Yeah.
There are a couple of participants who don't have mics.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So they may end up in a breakout room with somebody who does. So maybe they'll have to, I don't know, just
I'm not sure if the chat.
type theirs out or something. Do they have a chat within the breakout session?
I'm not sure. But if not, then I would say just work with what we can. We may not be able to have everybody participate, but that would be our goal. Unfortunately, I don't have the answer.
Okay, somebody is just commenting that they have had a chat.
Oh, perfect.
In that particular breakout session. So if you can just, kind of make it work with your breakout session room mate. They may speak theirs, but you could type yours into the chat.
Okay. Thank you, Lisa, and thank you, whoever posted that. I appreciate that. It was Jenna. I'm going to start the timer now, so I'll give you 5 minutes to jot down your responses to those 4 questions. And if you're having trouble thinking about an organization, think about maybe the last job that you applied for. What can you bring to that organization?
What time are we regrouping at, Pat?
4 more minutes.
Okay. I will be right back.
Okay. Okay, just doing a time check. We have 1 more minute before we're going to send you to your breakout room. Alrighty, time's almost up. So if you can just wrap up your own little worksheet. So just to remind you, you're going to be paired with someone else in a breakout room. And again, depending on the number of people that are involved, I might have to move somebody to another group. And when you get to the room, again, you're going to have 10 minutes to share your elevator speech with the other person. So take about 5 minutes per person, and then make sure that you give enough time to give some constructive feedback on their elevator speech. So based on what you heard the other person say, do you have any recommendations on how they might improve it? But what did they do well? What areas need improvement? Okay, so you're going to be returned automatically to the main room as soon as, and you'll get a 1 minute warning. Okay, so we're going to, hopefully this will work out fine. I'm just going to start the breakout room. So we'll see you back in about 10 minutes. Hmm.
Hello? I think you're muted, Lisa. I think it automatically mutes us when we join, I think.
Sorry.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Sorry, did you have a question?
I didn't. I think it put us in the room together.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what it did. I'm like 90% sure.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that Pat was
Yeah, I'm not. That's my
was
assumption.
assigning me to a room, but I
Yeah.
guess she did.
I think
Okay.
that's my assumption anyway.
Okay, well, let's go with that.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so do you have did you have a chance to write some thoughts
Yeah,
down?
I wrote some stuff down. The one I was kind of confused on the what you stand for and what you value question a bit too, because I'm not really
Right.
somebody who has like a lot of strong values and a lot of non-strong values towards one thing, and kind of just sort of go with the role. If it's a right thing,
Well,
it's the right thing. You know what I mean?
yeah. Okay, so tell me what you have so far, and then we can have a conversation around that.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. But I
Sorry,
think
we're
there's
all
like,
in the same group.
Hello.
yeah, there's a whole bunch of us in here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got all in the same group.
Okay, let me Pat, are you here?
I think she might be the only one who left.
Okay, so I'm going to actually I'm going to text her and let her know that there's a problem with the breakout sessions.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've messaged her. Let's see what she says back. So has everybody had a chance to jot down some of their thoughts? You know, it certainly, we realize it certainly takes a lot longer than, 5 or so minutes to, okay, Pat's trying to figure this out. But, it certainly does take a lot longer than a few minutes to come up with your with your elevator speech or your tell me about yourself speech, or sort of an infomercial, a 1 minute infomercial on yourself. But this is just to kind of give you an idea of how to start it. And the video gives a really good idea of what it should sound like. And we have other resources too. If you haven't visited our student portal, please do so. So it's career, co-op, and field placement. And especially in the job search prep, there is all kinds of information on developing not only your resume, cover letter, but conducting informational interviews, which can be helpful when you are networking, and putting together your tell me about yourself question. So definitely check out the resources in our student portal. And you are free to download anything that you want that's in our student portal also, because it's available to you only while you are a Georgian student. But, you know, we post things there for students to use. So absolutely download whatever you want.
I just have a question. So that's available to us until we graduate, correct?
Until your final academic semester.
Okay. So we could use it over the summer, even if we don't have, we're not like enrolled in any courses during the summer?
Well, if you're not enrolled in any courses, then
so like come the end of this semester, I don't have class again until September.
So you don't have a summer semester.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you'd have access to it. It's because it's populated, the student portal is populated through Banner. So that's a good question. I'm not 100% sure about that, but you know, there is some time between now and the end of this semester. So take a look at it. We'll find. Yeah. Okay. Are you back, Pat? We've just been chatting about the student portal and things like that.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be any disruption over the summer if you're not in a registered program. It's
okay.
when you graduate.
When you're finished.
When you finish, you probably only have access for about 6 months after graduation. Okay, so that was a fail. Sorry, folks. The system was supposed to automatically, I had set up the rooms for 40 breakout rooms. Something didn't work.
And I know Pat knows how to do it because we've done it before.
We have, yeah. So it must have been a glitch. So just in the interest of time, we have about 15 minutes left in our session, and we have a few more slides to go through. Would anybody be willing to come on and give us their elevator speech?
You can just come off. You can just come off mute. You can just come off mute. You don't have to share your camera if you don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I want to point you out, but Craig, you and I had a little bit of a conversation before we realized we were all in the same group. I think you had some ideas. Did you want to maybe start to share with us what you jotted down?
I could if you'd like. I don't really have much in anything interesting that I'd think nothing that anybody else wouldn't have. It's a start. Yeah, it's just basically my name.
Give you some feedback.
A little introduction. I guess it's because my dad was always in sales, but I always think of it more as like I want to be your friend more than I want to be your coworker, because you like working with your friends more than you like working with a coworker.
Okay.
So I always think of trying to make somebody like laugh in the elevator pitch, like get a little joke or something going.
Sort of to break the ice, yeah.
Yeah, kind of like
and that, you know,
ways, right?
Yeah, and using humor as long as it's, you know, appropriate and professional is good. And you know, we always suggest to students, you know, don't start it off just in the same old, hi, my name is Lisa Lundy and I do this, because that's what employers hear all the time. But if you can come up with a way to hook them from the beginning, and if that is using some humor, and then you make them sit up and think, hey, I want to listen to the rest of this. I want to know more about this person. So that can be a great idea.
Yeah, I always thought of it trying to be like a little more interesting, if that makes sense, than everybody else.
No, absolutely.
Jump off the page type thing.
Yep, I have to, I'll share with everybody probably the best hook line that I have heard. And of course, we can't all have this one, but it was a student who worked or was in the flight services program. And during their tell me about yourself question, they started off saying, I was born to work in the aviation industry. No, really, I was born in an airport. So that one was pretty good, and it made this person unique, and it made them stand out. So if you can think of something like that, you know, maybe there's a particular reason why you're going into your industry, or what made you choose Georgian, or a little bit of humor, something that engages the employer and gets them interested.
Okay, thank you, Craig. I really appreciate you sharing that. But I would encourage the rest of you to fine tune and keep working on your elevator speech, because you never know when you're going to need to introduce yourself to somebody. Okay, so let's move on. You can see my screen still. This was our next poll, but we'll just skip that because we don't know how each other did. Sorry. Okay. So Lisa, I think this is you.
Yes. So when you're job searching, it is a full-time job. Okay. I was speaking with a student yesterday who's close to graduating. And, you know, when students get to that time, although it's exciting, you know, I'm finished school, now I have to find a job, and they start to panic a little bit. But as organized as you would be on the job, and as organized as you've had to be, you know, managing all of the deadlines for your assignments and getting to class, and apply that same strategy to your job search. So if you need to keep a schedule for it, whether it's online or whether you have, you know, a paper calendar, or however it helps you stay organized, that's one of the first things that you need to do. And that way you track your progress. You know, here's an example of a job search or networking log. You can capture jobs that you've applied to, people that you've connected with, what was the outcome. You don't want to have a bunch of sticky notes all over the place. And then you have to go, you know, then the wind knocks them off of your computer screen or something, and you're scrambling to find them. You really need to be organized and pay attention to details. You know, this sample job searcher networking log, if this doesn't work for you, come up with something else. But track where you're applying, when you applied. Just be really, really organized in your job search.
Okay, and that brings us to strategy number 10.
Okay, and so, you know, job searching is a full-time job. You can't, you know, there's a saying that I like: you can't do everything at once, but you can do something at once. So, you know, while this is fresh in your memory, what do you do tomorrow? Take one piece. Maybe you start to develop a list of, okay, who could I reach out to as a network? Or I'm going to follow a blog. You know, be kind to yourself. Be patient with yourself. It's not going to happen. I mean, we wish it would happen overnight for you, that you find a job. And some people, you know, some people it does. But sometimes it takes some time also. So do things that are good for yourself. When you're good to yourself, you can be good to others. It's frustrating job searching sometimes, but you don't want to be, you know, short with people. So be patient and kind with yourself and others. You know, make sure that, so when you're scheduling some job search activities, maybe start off with doing, okay, I'm going to schedule in 15 minutes a day, and I'm going to start brainstorming for who I could use as my network. Tomorrow I'm going to take a look at my LinkedIn profile, just, and then increase it to, maybe 20 minutes a day. And, but just, not that we're saying, really take your time with it, but ease yourself into it. But do things that are good for yourself also. So if that's, meditation, running, reading, cooking, spending time with your pet, whatever gives your mind a break from all of the things, your academics and looking for a job. Find skills that activities that don't require the same skills or attention that your job search does or that your academics do. If you take a chance to, maybe you like to cook, so you're going to try cooking something new. When you can step back from the serious situations of job search and school, it will help you refresh and you can gain a new perspective. Also, this is very basic, but it's really important. And when we're busy and stressed out, we forget to do these things. Stay hydrated, eat well, get some fresh air every day. Thank goodness the snow is gone. I'm afraid we might get one more snowfall, but generally the weather's getting better from here on in. Walk around the block. Go down by our lovely waterfront if you're in Barrie. Find a hiking trail, get some fresh air, and try to get adequate sleep too. I'm a night hawk, so I know it's hard sometimes, but and another little tip is, how would you talk to a friend if you're encouraging them to stay upbeat while they're doing their job search or they're going through a heavy course? You wouldn't say, "Oh, come on, what's the matter with you?" You would talk to them in an encouraging way. So talk to yourself that way too. Often we don't give ourselves, we don't want to give ourselves a break. You want to show that you're motivated, but talk to yourself in an encouraging way. Treat yourself like a friend and, congratulate yourself when you need to. Otherwise, pick yourself up and say, things are going to be better tomorrow. Everybody's in kind of the same boat. So don't be short with anybody either.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. And we're at our last poll. So there are the top 10 strategies that we presented, and we're just curious, what one, if you had to pick one as a starting place, what is the number one strategy that you're going to take away from today's session? That's awesome. A lot of you are going to start networking. That's great. And taking online courses. That shows a lot of perseverance. If you are going to take online courses in conjunction with your full-time courses, that's awesome. Okay, so as you continue to indicate what strategy that you're willing to commit to, in the interest of time, we have 3 minutes left. We do have a video of our services. You're free to stay and watch it, or you can find the link on our landing page of the Co-op Career and Field Placement resources site. But I am going to lock the poll and move on to that.
And just quickly before
video.
that starts,
Yep.
I did just insert the link in the chat for a summary of the strategies and some of the great resources that we've gathered for you. on a resource sheet. So that link has been added into the chat.
Perfect. Okay, so thank you. I'll let the video play. If you can stick around, awesome. If you have to leave, that's fine too. But we just wanted to share with you the video, and our contact information I had already put in the chat. So I'm going to start the video. So thank you for participating. If you have any final questions, you can post that in the chat, and Lisa and I will monitor them while the video is playing.
Hello, my name is Pat Roberts. I'm one of the career consultants here at Georgian College. On behalf of the Career Success team, I'm here to help you understand our services and how you can connect with us. I am going to introduce you to our student portal and our job posting website. Before I get started, please note that all services offered by the Career Success team have moved to a virtual format due to COVID-19. More on how to connect with us later, but for now, let's meet the career team and discuss the services available to you. Meet Lisa, Pat, and Tammy, who are career consultants, and Sterling, our employment resource officer. Let's dive into the services. One of our collective passions is to support students on their career journey and help them make informed career decisions. Through one-on-one appointments, we can help you clarify your career goals and help you explore your options. How do we do this? We can provide you with career assessments to help you reflect on your interests, personality, skills, values, abilities, and much more. We can also help you understand workplace realities by interpreting labor market information. Why should you invest time in the career planning process? Well, frankly, you're spending a lot of money to be here at Georgian College, and we want to help you be better prepared to make informed career choices. You might wonder what you can do with your diploma or degree. We can help you find the answers. Our team provides coaching and support with preparing your resume and cover letters. We provide this service for all students, but if you're in a co-op program, we recommend you connect with your co-op consultant for industry-specific advice. Do interviews make you nervous? For most people, they do, especially if you've never had a job interview or have never been interviewed in Canada. Our team can help you anticipate interview questions, provide valuable resources and videos to help you prepare. We can run you through a practice interview and give you immediate feedback on your responses. You have access to Perfect Interview. This website has over 2,000 interview questions and provides example responses and coaching tips. You can access it anytime to help you get ready for job interviews. We recommend you think about creating an employment portfolio that contains examples of your work, your academic success, and concrete evidence of skills you say you have in your resume. Consider creating a LinkedIn profile to start building your professional network. Ask us how to get started. Now it's time to learn about the extensive resources that are available in the student portal. From the college login, select the student portal logo. This will bring you to the landing page of the student portal. From there, select the Student Services link. Then select the section called Career, Co-op, and Field Placement. Please take some time to explore these valuable resources. If you are looking for work, the pages that you'll find most helpful will be in the Job Search Prep section. You will find resume and cover letter resources and samples, interview resources, videos, and much more. In the Looking for Work section, you will find an extensive collection of job search websites. In this page, please review the information on identifying legitimate employers due to the increase in fraudulent job postings. You will also find information about on-campus jobs. However, because of COVID, these opportunities are very limited. If you have dreamed about working abroad, check out that section and meet with one of our international experience consultants. Let's talk about Georgian Connects. This is the college job posting portal that we use to post jobs including co-ops, internships, part-time, contract, on-campus, and graduate jobs. Every student has an account and to get to the site from the college login screen, select Georgian Connects. There you go. You can start exploring jobs. Keep in mind that students have access until they graduate. If you want to continue accessing jobs after you graduate, just simply create an alumni account in your graduating semester. Students have access to our virtual Career Hub services, and you are welcome to send us your job search documents to gccareerhub@georgiancollege.ca, and Sterling will connect with you as soon as he can with some feedback and suggestions. Our remote services are available by email, telephone, or through Cisco WebEx meetings. Keep in mind that you can access our services for up to 2 years after you graduate. To make an appointment, you can reach our central customer service desk at 705-728-1968, extension 1340. Or you can book an appointment by accessing your account on Georgian Connects. If you have questions, you can email careerconsultant@georgiancollege.ca. Please follow us on social media for tips, upcoming events, contests, and much more. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to meeting you. Okay, well, that concludes our session today. So on behalf of Lisa and myself, I'd like to thank you for participating, and I hope that you found some valuable job search tips throughout the session today.